All right, so I've switched over to this map of Africa to take a look at a couple of examples of a divergent plate boundary. One that happened a little bit before my time, up here between the African plate and the Arabian plate. The Arabian plate began to move to the northwest, and the African plate is moving towards the west. So you can see that those plates have split apart from each other, and in between them has left a sea, the Red Sea. You may study some about that in social studies this year. Another area where we have divergent plate boundaries is along this eastern side of Africa. And it really is beginning to break apart Africa into multiple plates. So we have the main African plate is called the Nubian plate, the western side of Africa. And then this little piece here on the east side of Africa is called the Somali plate, or the African Somali plate, which makes up the country of Somalia. So it makes sense that we'd have the plate named after that. So let's see what features are going to result from this. So going back to our notes, I actually need to open those up real quick. Sorry. All right, so going back to our notes, we're looking at the African Nubian plate breaking apart from the African Somali plate. So the beginning of our story is going to be really similar to what we had over here between the North American plate and the Eurasian plate. They were spreading apart, allowing magma to come up and fill in the gap between them, piling up on the bottom of the ocean floor into these little mounds called ocean ridges. But if we have land that's there and enough land that's there, then we're going to have our two plates, just like before. We're going to show the action of those two plates, African Nubian plate moving to the left, the African Somali plate moving to the right. But as they move apart from each other, we're going to see a different effect. Let me set my camera down, see if I can't get a little visual going here. So I'm going to say that try to keep it consistent with how I've drawn it on the screen, that this block over here in my left hand is going to be the African Somali plate, and the one in my right hand is going to be the African Nubian plate. And I'm going to allow those plates to move apart from each other really slowly, and as they move apart, they're going to crack the ground around them, and then we'll see the effect of that. So as they're being pulled apart from each other, that middle piece just keeps sliding down lower and lower. And that's the formation of a rift valley. And probably the most famous rift valley is the African Rift Valley, or the Great Rift Valley, or in today's time, we really have the East African Rift Valley. So let's try to draw that in our notes. Let me set this down. Pick back up with the camera. So we've got our plates coming apart from each other, and as they come apart, that middle piece is going to drop down. And so we've got our topography of our land moving from flat land, straight cliff down,
Teachers, this is just a reminder that
flat land along the bottom.
certified meeting for core and encore teachers will begin at 1 o'clock in the media center.
Sorry for that announcement. But we're going to try to draw that in. We got our land, comes straight down, and then we have our valley floor, cliff side on the other side, and that's called a rift valley. So two different effects based on where it is, what type of plates are involved there. Also probably has to do with the speed involved. Over here with the Mid-Atlantic Ocean Ridge, this is a really slow moving process. The plates, the North American plate and the Eurasian plate, are separating by about 2.5 centimeters. That's 1 idiotic inch, 2.5 centimeters every year. That's a pretty slow movement for plates. When they move a little bit faster, we get more serious earthquakes, and we can have that land drop down a little bit lower. If I can, don't know if I got rid of it, but there we go. We can take a look at a picture of the East African Rift Valley. So the picture over here on the left, you got your plateau, your flat land. It drops down. We have our valley floor. And then over on this side, you can maybe see on the top right how the land is elevated over there. Then you can see this crack running through here, several cracks running through there. That's from those plates pulling apart from each other, cracking open the surface, and leaving this valley floor behind. Played an important role in the history of Africa also. These valley floors did allow some volcanic stuff to come up, and that volcanic rock gets broken down into some really fertile soil. So these rift valleys became really important places for farming to occur. But just wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about divergent plate boundaries, and I'll give you an assignment posted down below this, but just want to stop and share it with you, tell you that science rocks. Peace.